here. Andy Hooser, the voice of reason. What's up, my brother from another mother?
What's up, man? Happy Monday.
I was just ripping some Scorpions and a little bit of Uncle Ted here in the studio with this beautiful Les Paul special with the twin dual P90s on it. A Marshall amp over here just humming and buzzing like crazy. Good heavens.
Making the place rattle, brother. That's it. That's what you got to do. That is the classics. And your music has led to the styles of my music. So, you have to have the evolution of rock and roll.
Your music and my music. You're trying to make me sound old, man. It's our music. Music belongs to all.
Are you kidding? It is our music, but you want to talk about being old. When you hear the Offspring and when you hear some of my music on classic rock stations now, that makes me feel old. So, yeah, you know what? I kind of hit a midlife moment a while back when I heard some of my music playing on some of the oldies stations.
Yeah, I can play some of the Offspring too, by the way. Love that rock and roll.
They're fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Your Love is one that I learned how to play quite some time ago. It's a really fun song to play, by the way. But anyway. Andy Hooser, the voice of Raison. So let's just go here. Let's just go here because it's Andy Hooser on a Monday. First of all, how's the weather in Wichita today?
It's miserable, freaking hot, man. I'm not okay with this. This is the surface of hell right now. We are in an extreme heat advisory at 105 degrees today in Wichita, Kansas.
It's called summertime.
I know it's summertime. No, I'm not okay with this. Not okay. We have like high 90s all the rest of the week, and I am miserable.
It's just summertime. Yeah. It'll cool off fast enough. All right, we got to go here. I bought the Steven Spielberg movie Disclosure Day. I bought it a few days ago.
Yeah, buddy.
And I know you're going to ask me what I thought about it.
I was waiting. I didn't know if you were going to bring it up today or not. I remember you texted us at the end of last week and said you had got it. You're planning on watching it. Yeah. So I was going to bring it up today, whether you were planning on to or not. So, yes, what did you think of it? And are you ready? Are you ready for it?
Well, if I'm ready for Disclosure Day, yes, absolutely. I already know the answer to that. But I'm going to give you my gut reaction to the movie. I was disappointed. And let me tell you why I was disappointed. There's a reason for why I was disappointed. It's kind of like, because I'm a documentary history buff guy. Okay? That's just my deal. I'm a history buff. I'm a documentary. I love watching great documentaries. You see all the the UFO stuff and all that stuff. I love watching that stuff. And I'm going to equate it with this movie, Titanic. I was disappointed in the same way I was when I first saw the Titanic movie, when I realized this ain't no realistic movie. This is about a bunch of crap stories that nobody knows ever happened because the thing sank.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. So that disappointed me because Disclosure Day starts out with this. It was just an action-packed adventure movie. And I was not expecting that, but it had articulate this for me. It was an action-packed adventure story, but it also had the element of, what does Spielberg know,
truth
kind of thing. The truth, yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly it. So you were wanting more of an actual documentary-esque type of film.
Not in the sense of a documentary. I knew it was a Steven Spielberg movie. Let's get real. E.T. and all the stuff he does. It's Steven Spielberg. You kind of get the cinematics. You know what you're getting with Spielberg. I knew, but I didn't think it would be as much of an action-packed adventure type movie as it was.
True.
So I'm not really sure.
That was a little over the top. And I get what you're saying. That was a little bit over the top. The driving the car through the whole house and that sort of thing. It was a little strange. But I wasn't there to see that because I knew that. Look. We have you and I, which are the nerds that are looking for the documentary, looking for the actual truth, looking for this information. Then you have the general population, and the general population has to have it spoon-fed to them in a way of science fiction to where it's entertaining through a movie, so they get the subliminal message and they're more apt to actually understanding or actually accepting this type of information. That's what this movie was. When you look under that tone and under that layer of all the action-y, drama-y type of stuff, and you realize what was going on there, very powerful, very good stuff, and it's exactly how this disclosure thing's going to happen, and I can't wait for it to play out.
Yeah, it was kind of woven in. Now, I'm going to give you a spoiler alert, guys, because I can't talk about the movie without talking about the movie. Okay, I'm not going to tell you where it happened, except it was the very end. I'm just going to go there. So if you don't want to hear it, just mute your radio, mute your phone, mute your device, whatever you need to do. Just hit the pause button, however you're getting the program today. The last word spoken in the movie, listen. When the extraterrestrial was brought forth to meet the two main characters, the protagonists, and I'll say there were two of them.
Yes.
And he said something to them, whispered something to them in his goofy language, which these other two people understood because of that whole weird, drama movie type thing. And then she went to the camera and looked forward and said, listen. She just translated what he said. You want to give me the takeaway on that? Okay, guys, you can come back now. Sorry about that. I had to go there.
That's right. Yeah, welcome back to it. That's right. After all that. Yeah, look, I mean, I think that is what we're all waiting for. When she said, listen, the anticipation was built of what's coming next. What did he say, or what did this thing say? And what exactly is the message? What is the purpose? What was the reasoning behind the interaction? And why are we saying this disclosure? That's what we're all waiting for right now. And look, personally, you can laugh at me all you want to. I'm ready for how that revealing is. The powers that be, the government, these military contractors, whoever it is trying to keep this stuff suppressed, trying to keep this information from getting out to the public, it's going to look like that type of style of insurgents to actually release this type of information, and then the truth will be revealed. And you can take away from it what you want to, but knowing is what we're striving for. Knowing and understanding on all of this, in our place in all of this, is what we all, I think, are actually looking for. So, look, that was the anticipation build, and it was frustrating that it left us on that cliffhanger, because that's exactly the question that all of us are asking. What's going on here? Who are they? Where are they from? And what the heck is the purpose of all of it? And, they left us there. So it was very well done. I loved it. I thought it was a great movie when you look at that purpose. Did
the final reveal of that, again, here it comes. Turn, dial, 2, 3, 4, 5. Listen. Was he suggesting pay attention to what you're going to learn from us, or you're a bunch of idiots and you don't listen? What was going on there, do you think?
Look, I mean, that's up to the speculation, right? And it depends on the type of information that's been given, or I guess at least what he knows when he made this film. But I think, listen, we're going to tell you who you are and your place in the universe, or who we are and what our place is, or how we're supposed to interact, or how we've been interacting for a very long time. And of course, that's why there's this big uprising about the theological conversation, or the philosophical about, are they going to deceive us? Are they trying to mislead us? And, that's what people want to know. But I want to hear them say it directly out. Oh, of course. Exactly. Yeah. And that's why if you've been keeping this secret, a religious institution or a governmental institution, if you've known about it and have been keeping secrets from us, then you do not get to tell us how to interpret the information when we get more information, because I don't trust you, because you've been the ones concealing it and covering it up since the beginning. So there was a podcast with Sean Ryan, actually, I think just the last couple of days ago, with a Catholic priest, and he went to this Catholic church and did this whole thing. And again, nothing against my Catholic friends, but
30,
tell us that this is fear mongering. They're going to mislead us. They're going to drive us away from religion. And look, you guys have been keeping it secret for a long time, so I really don't trust anything you say at all.
That's true about anything organized, particularly government. Ladies and gentlemen, the government's been lying to you about everything, from your gun rights to how they get rich when they go to Washington and everything else. We'll talk more about it when we come back with Andy Hooser, the voice of reason. Don't go away. I would normally ask Greg how many cups of blackout coffee I had to start my day. Andy Hooser, the voice of reason, how many cups of blackout coffee did I have to start my day today? Knowing that Sunday's a very long night for me, and I don't usually get any shut-eye until at least 3 a.m.
I am guessing 4 cups of coffee and a 1 sugar-free Red Bull.
I'm having my second sugar-free Red Bull, and I had 3 cups of coffee earlier today.
All right, that was close.
Blackout coffee, ladies and gentlemen. Andy Hooser, I was having a conversation with Derek during the break, and I got to talking about the arrogance of mankind. just how arrogant we are, that we think we know everything. And I can take that right to the Big Bang, right? Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
What went pow? What went bang? And who put what went bang there? And for that matter, what was on the other side of what went bang? And when they tell you that the universe is constantly expanding, expanding into what? What's on the other side of nothing?
We know so little.
We don't know anything.
So little about things that we really don't know anything, and we have a very big ego as mankind, and as a species, and that's going to be our downfall. Look, I mean, this is not taking away from religious aspect, because I am very religious myself. I have my faith as well, and understanding more through science does not negate faith. It actually emboldens it to understand. I go into the philosophy that, God gave us the tools that we need to help understand the universe that he created. So therefore, as we learn more, it doesn't negate away from the faith, but it actually emboldens it. So if again, this is speculation here, if an ET race comes down and says, we've been here for a very long time, we've been watching you, we have been interacting with you for thousands of years, and in fact there are rumors, according to the Sumerian documents, the oldest known documents that are out there in mankind, that we actually helped seed you and breed you into a hybrid from what was here before and with some of our DNA to make what humans are today.
Andy's going there.
I know, I'm going there for a minute. That does not negate the people that believe that we were made in the image of God, because number one, I believe that's the soul, it's not the physical being. But we have the earliest known documents that anybody has been able to discover in Sumer say that that's what actually happened. And to me, if that is the case, that makes somewhat logical sense. I can see that happening. That does not take away my faith. So for these religious institutions that come out and be like, oh, if they try to tell you this stuff, they're deceiving you and taking you away from God. It's not. I don't know how that's the case at all. You can believe what you want to, but look, if they came and said that, I've read up enough of other documents throughout history where they've said that in numerous different cultures. I'm like, it kind of reaffirms what we've already kind of known. We just didn't want to admit.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting when you think about it. Would another race know what gravity is? No. We call it gravity. We don't even know what it is. That's just what we call it, So they put these spaceships out there that go out into interstellar space, which is really just pretty much down the street from where we are, considering the vastness of the universe, which is so mind-bogglingly huge that we can't comprehend it. But that's just us.
Yeah,
we could be a little tiny atom on the fingernail of a giant organism. It's just our perspective of things. And when they say, and I love this, I would love to talk with a physicist about this. I would love to, because I wouldn't think it would be hard to checkmate some of these people. It really wouldn't, with very simple, benign, basic questions. Well, our fastest rocket's going to take us 4,000 years to get to the next star. I mean, come on. The laws of physics say it's not possible. No, that's the laws of physics as you know it, bro. Somebody who's been here a billion years before you might know things a little bit more than you do. Like what's on the other side of what you don't know anything about.
That's right. And I love to tie this to your, obviously, conversation with the Second Amendment, because this is so important. We need to start having more conversations like this, because, the fact that as a species that we still have idiot people that take advantage of others, that try to harm others, that are trying to do whatever they do, that cause crime, that need us to have firearms. These are the conversations that humanity was supposed to evolve into by this point. We're still now trying to define what a biological man or woman is and what kind of path.
No. They are, not we are.
Well, they are. True, but it's sunk society down back to this level of stupid, when we should, as a society as a whole, be elevated enough to have deeper conversations and to understand the world around us, which is, in my opinion, why we've seen a delay in much of the disclosure and some of this information, because I don't think many are able to handle it, because we're so stuck on such stupid, superficial conversations. And, in the regards of self-defense and firearms and actually protecting ourselves, we still have to have those conversations, because humanity, in some aspects at least, is not prepared to let part of their egos go, as we mentioned, and actually move forward with a deeper conversation about life.
Yeah, I'm not a biologist. I don't know what a woman is. Can you believe that? I mean, Supreme Court actually had to get involved with this nonsense and this transgender nonsense. I can tell you exactly what a woman is, because a beautiful woman sold me a Ninja coffee maker at 3 o'clock in the morning. That would be Sofia Vergara. I know exactly what a woman is, okay? I mean, good heavens.
There's that.
Yeah, there is that, isn't there?
There is that.
Take me in a bunch of different directions here today, Andy Hooser. Yeah, well,
It's
you
a
know, we get
Monday.
the Second Amendment stuff with the whole alien thing. I love that because just imagine, ladies and gentlemen, just assume, just walk with us here for a second that it's all real. Okay, that there are actually
I mean,
things
it
out there
is.
that
We
know
just have
more
to
than
prove it.
you. Just accept that fact for the sake of this conversation, if that's how you have to stretch it. Imagine what their weapons technology is like.
Yeah.
Ooh. I mean, you got somebody can bend what we call gravity and create all this stuff and knows what's on the other side. Can you imagine the self-defense tools those cats are in possession of? I don't
I
think
want
we'd
one of
want. We
those.
wouldn't want to be on the other end, receiving end of one of those things. I'm sure, whatever it may be.
No, but I want one of those. And that should reinforce the idea that as we hear this fear tactic that they're coming to harm us, if they wanted to harm us, they probably could have. I don't think that my, SIG, as much as I love Sig Sauer, I don't think my SIG is going to defend me from whatever they potentially could have. So
No, and they're pretty sure about that too, Andy, or they wouldn't even be here in the first place, right? They're pretty
That's right.
emboldened. They're pretty emboldened. But yeah, it is a fascinating conversation. It really truly is. And the fact that our government is so deeply involved in it right now, when we've got sitting Congress people that are talking about this, particularly the likes of Anna Paulina Luna, who's a wonderful person, I know her, and Tim Burchett and the rest of them, that are telling you the things that they have seen and what they know, and others as well that just don't want to talk about it and can't talk about what they know for, whatever reason they say.
1 minute.
That just tells me everything I need to know. And ladies and gentlemen, as you know, the government's been hiding crap from you forever. Okay? You still believe the Warren report on Kennedy? Okay. I own the bridge over the River Kwai, and I'm keeping it in Andy's backyard in Wichita. I'll sell it to you for a pretty penny, all right? I mean, come on, guys. You got to get real with some of this stuff. You've been lied to forever. We all know it. It's why you don't trust ABC, NBC, so we can all CBS. It's why. It's the same thing. You already know this stuff. They've been lying to you. What else are they lying to you about? Pretty much everything they don't want you to know. Well, because it takes away some of their power. Armed American Radio's Daily Defense will be back with Andy Hooser right after this. We'll see what kind of fun stuff we can cover. There's information on the Oregon hunting ban ballot initiative. I'll tell you what went on there. We'll be back with Andy. 2 more segments to go. Yeah, welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. I always talk about Patriot Mobile every day, and my favorite hat, my Patriot Mobile hat, if you've noticed, if you're watching the show, you've noticed I haven't had it on for the last month or so. I can't find it. I think my daughter scarfed it, but she's moved back home officially as of this week. So I'll have to find that again. And I know some of you are thinking, why don't you just call Patriot and get another hat? Well, that hadn't crossed my mind, but I think I might have to do that because I don't know where it is. But you too can have armedamericanradio.com. Don't forget Bud's Gun Shop and the rest. We'll talk more about them coming up. Andy Hooser, the voice of reason. Do you want the last word on the whole, ET
bring it.
thing?
I mean, that's all I've been saying. Bring it. Look, we've had 4 rounds of disclosure. Apparently, we have another one coming out relatively soon. Tim Burchett did comment just the last couple of days and said that right now they're obviously just butting up against defense contractors that are not wanting it, or the defense industry that doesn't want some of this information out. And they bring up the argument that if they do have this info, if they have been reverse engineering, if we had known about this, then it's going to bring up a lot of questions about where the funding of it has been for the reverse engineering, who approved it, how come they've been keeping it secret for a long time, and it's going to make them look really bad, which is why they are desperate to not allow any more come out. But apparently round number 5 is coming relatively soon for more information. And if you've noticed, Mark, it's been progressively getting more interesting as it's gone along. Round number 4 a week or 2 ago has been really fascinating to watch.
It has. Speaking of ETs and wackos from other places, Oregon. Wow. You've got to, there's people in Oregon that actually want to ban hunting and fishing. I mean, think about this. They're there. But I do have good news for you, and you're listening in Oregon right now. The hunting ban ballot initiative failed the signature deadline. So off that goes. And Andy, that's a good thing. I mean, the fact that we even entertain this nonsense, the fact that the Supreme Court had to take transgender nonsense, the fact that there are Americans talking about putting biological men in young girls' locker room is just patently absurd to me. A lot of that, again, I lay a lot of this at the feet of the media, who gives this crap legs by constantly repeating it and making it sound like an actual story when it's not. It's just nonsense. You could pick whatever else you want. Some people say the same thing about us talking about UFOs, okay? You can take, and that's a valid point. You can take anything you want. If the media wants to, they can give it legs and legitimize it, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, that's why I think that we've been scratching at the lowest common denominator in society. That's why if we are talking about deeper questions about the world, then that's where we should be as a norm. But instead, we're worrying about the Kardashians and, the latest pop culture celebrities, and we're worried about gender issues. We're worried about superficial things that mean absolutely nothing at the end of the day. Look, we have a mental health crisis in the country where there are a lot, especially with the younger generation, a lot of people that are desperately asking the question, what is my purpose here and what's the role of me being in society in the first place? And they're leaning towards, because all they hear about is you're a victim, or you need to be part of the woke movement, or are you really the gender that you say that you are, and distracting us with all this garbage, when the issues that we have here is, like you said, we literally have someone that's trying to say you're not allowed to hunt and fish in Oregon. Now,
Right.
I've never been to Oregon, but I've seen the pictures of Oregon. Oregon's one of the most beautiful states that we have in this nation. There is a lot of land out there.
Yes, it's one of the most beautiful places to hunt and fish. Oregon's a beautiful state. The politics has wrecked it. But, it hasn't wrecked the natural beauty of the state. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to drive that state. It is absolutely gorgeous. The only place I have not been is the Oregon coast. I've been inland. It's just so beautiful. It's such a beautiful place. And it's horrible that we get to a point that politics does this, that there are people out there that won't go to Oregon because of the politics. I'm not going out there. I mean, I kind of feel the same way about California. Every time I'm in California, I feel like I'm in a third world country. Okay. I would go up, and I'll do it again in October. I go up to the Firearms group, a Rod of Iron Festival. And it's funny because Alan and Gottlieb and I'll get in around noon or 1 o'clock and wait till about 4 o'clock. Alan gets in, and the two of us will pick up the same ride and take it up to the event about 2.5 hours out. We will not stop in New Jersey and eat dinner, even though we're both pretty tired from flying and hungry. We won't do it until we get to Pennsylvania because we don't want our tax dollars feeding that anti-gun, hateful, communist place. And that's really sad because the areas of New Jersey that we drive through happen to be bright red up in northern New Jersey. And it's a very beautiful place, very colonial, okay, a lot of history up there. No, we just go right into Pennsylvania, and that's really sad. But guys, that you just got to kind of talk with your wallet. You got to talk with your dollars, and when you find yourself in situations, that's just what I choose to do. That's that simple.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. I'm going to take you back down to Atlanta now, and I wish I had 2 hours for this one. I'm glad I don't today because I'm tired, but. You've got in state of Georgia, Andy, you remember, because we talked about when the Guns Everywhere bill passed, right? SB 386 was the bill. The left called it the Guns Everywhere bill. We were all cheering that. Yeah, we should be able to carry our guns everywhere we have a right to be. So I like that moniker. I'll stick with that. I'm on board with you. I'll play with you. Of course, guns everywhere. Everywhere I'm at, I should be able to have my firearm, period. Well, you've got the interim CEO of MARTA. And that is the Metropolitan Atlanta Regional Transit Authority, which is, as you can imagine, is probably a very safe way to travel around Atlanta, correct? Yeah, it's not. Okay, it's not. Your own car's not a safe way to travel around Atlanta. But the interim CEO is now asking legislators to ban guns on public transport, on public transit, the MARTA system, which is a very unsafe way to travel. I would beg to tell you that the only people that travel MARTA are the people that absolutely have to travel MARTA, okay? Cam Edwards, speaking of Cam Edwards, I was on Bearing Arms today, guys. If you missed it, I'm sure it's up by now. Cam and I had a great conversation, so go check it out. Cam and Company did a lot of fun. Cam and I covered a lot of ground quickly today, so make sure to check that out. But not Fox Atlanta, 11 Alive here in the Atlanta metro area is talking about the interim CEO, Jonathan Hunt, Andy, who wrote to lawmakers, and here's what he had to say. I mean, just the hypocrisy here is so fun. MARTA respectfully requests that the General Assembly consider legislation to prohibit weapons on the MARTA transit system for non-law enforcement personnel, similar to the exemptions that already exist for certain public buildings and government facilities, which, by the way, shouldn't exist anyway. Prohibiting weapons on MARTA trains, buses, and in our stations would provide law enforcement with a clearer legal framework to address threatening situations and enhance the sense of safety and security for the millions of patrons who depend on the system daily. So let me get this right. I have to take MARTA to my job every day from an outlying suburb. boy, I can't wait until I can't have my gun so I can feel safe on MARTA. What, how do you even paint this picture? When we come back from the break, Andy and I are going to dig into this because, believe it or not,
20.
It gets even better because that's what the Democrats and Democrats are good at, is making stupid things even better for people like us so we can bring it to you
10.
and have some fun with it. We'll be back. One more segment to go with Andy. Don't go away. Yeah, guys, attorneysonretainer.us. I'm holding the card up right here. I've got two of these. I've just dropped one, so if I lose one, I always have another one. Attorneysonretainer.us/aa.radio.com. Andy Hooser, the voice of reason. Welcome back in. So let's go back to MARTA. Let's go back to MARTA for just a second. Because I'm not lying, it does get better. The interim CEO, Hunt, his push for banning guns on MARTA, which is not a safe way to travel, but he thinks by banning guns it'll be safe because criminals will somehow follow that directive. I mean, it's just stupidity at this point, ladies and gentlemen. It's beyond ignorance. It's just stupidity. It's a choice to be as stupid as these people are. Police chief, MARTA's police chief, Scott Crayer, spoke out against open carry on the transit system, which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, there have been zero problems with whatsoever. They just don't like it. He expressed his desire for TSA-style security for MARTA passengers. Now, I mentioned I was on Bearing Arms today, and the reason I mentioned that is because Cam played a role in the piece that AWR wrote about this story yesterday, or today, excuse me. And he observed the following, and I quote, MARTA serves hundreds of thousands of passengers each day, and prohibiting them from lawfully carrying a firearm leaves them defenseless before and after they use the system, too. Not just when they're on the bus or the train. Some riders would be able to afford switching to their own private vehicle instead of using public transportation, but what about those who can't? Andy, this is just more proof positive that these people are more concerned about their egos, they're more concerned about their own control, their own power trip, than they are about keeping people safe, or they would not say these idiotic things, would they?
Yeah, no, it's all about the trigger word. I mean, it's if they can have a catchy slogan, then they feel better about themselves. Hey, look at what we're doing. We're stopping crime on our, in our business or on our mode of transportation or whatever it is. Whenever they kind of go down this road, they think that they're somehow doing service to humanity when they realize that all they're doing is making it worse. But just like the idea of socialism, it's, well, we haven't been able to go far enough, right? Chicago, when they banned firearms and crime still happened, they're like, well, firearms are getting in, so we just have to ban firearms in the entire state. Oh, they're being imported from other parts of the country. We have to ban it in surrounding states, and they just want to go further and further because, like socialism, it would only work if we could have a purer version of socialism.
Yeah.
If we could only go further down the road of socialism, that's what they're thinking here. So you're right. I mean, on this mode of transportation, if you're not allowed to have a firearm, then cool. You're going to be vulnerable there, but you're also going to be open and vulnerable before and after. So then the next argument is, well, if we just ban it in other areas around there, then they wouldn't have the opportunity to carry it on to, this as well. So it's a funny conversation because it's never good enough for them.
Yeah, and just to answer some questions, some people are very astute, might be thinking, well, wait a minute, you can still carry your gun to your car. So when you get there, you have your gun with you until you get there. No, they want to ban it, ladies and gentlemen, in all of their facilities, including their parking lots. Now, that's going to go over like a giant puff of really smelly wind in a church pew in the state of Georgia. The legislature will never go through that. These were hard-fought victories, ladies and gentlemen, in the state of Georgia. I can tell you that because I'm here and I participated in those fights firsthand. But I will tell you this, that they will never stop. That's why it's so important that we keep our foot on the gas pedal. It's examples like this. They want to go back and remove what you already have from you. Don't think for 2 seconds that they're not going to try to do it at the federal level, because they are. That's exactly what they want to do. That's why if they pack the court, take the midterms, win 2028, you got a problem on your hands, ladies and gentlemen, a real problem on your hands, because that's exactly what they're going to do. Now, I don't use MARTA. In fact, I don't think I've ever been on MARTA, and I will never go on MARTA. I avoid Atlanta unless I have to drive through it to fly out of it, or unless I have to be there for a convention of sorts, which I have been for a number of NRA conventions. But again, that's a place my wife and I, since 2005, have never, Andy, had the following comment or conversation. Hey, honey, why don't we, after work today, let's get dressed up and let's go into downtown Atlanta for supper. No, that never happens. Not
Oh,
to
come on,
mention,
I'm sure there's some nice places downtown in Atlanta.
There's no question about it. But I have no interest. I have no interest. Even from a traffic standpoint, I just have no interest, okay? I stay out of the big cities. It's just that simple. I know too many people who have been victims of violent crime in that city. And yes, there are some great areas. There's no question about it. Unfortunately, there's some bad areas. But, you know, if I ever ride MARTA, I'm carrying a firearm with me, period. I don't care what some politician says. It's not going to happen. No politician has the moral authority to tell me that I cannot possess the means to protect myself or my family. Ever. Never.
Right.
Not going to happen. So you can read into that whatever you want to read into that, ladies and gentlemen, and know that that's a factual statement. Andy Hooser, the voice of reason, where can people find you in just a little bit, brother, because you're getting ready to do your own show. Man.
Yeah, HooserReason.com. You can find my information. I want to tie it into, and it's going to bleed into my show with what I'm going to talk about today. I did not realize that it was as much of a controversial topic as I thought, but flock cameras and the way that now apparently we go the opposite direction from, you know, this transportation mode trying to ban firearms because you need to be safe that way, to now having flock cameras and just having government surveil you every single place that you go on every single street corner. I mean, that's the extreme on the other end of this as well. And apparently that's a controversial topic. I posted on social media about flock cameras.
Oh, yeah,
and all of a sudden people got angry at me wanting to defend the idea of flock cameras, thinking that somehow that's a good thing. And I was very confused and actually honestly surprised by that response. So we'll talk about that on the program today.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting conversation. I'm going to tune in while I'm doing the podcast. And I'll tell you why. We've had 4 deputies in my county fired for misuse of the information they've gathered from flock cameras. Now, let me put it this way, ladies and gentlemen.
1 minute.
Those are the 4 that got caught. Those are the 4 that got busted. Don't think there hasn't been 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 30, 40. Those are the 4 that got caught. Multiply that across the country. Those people that are all into, Andy, the ones that you're getting the results from, that want that surveillance state, maybe in a perfect world if it were used for, but it's not a perfect world, ladies and gentlemen.
Never going to be.
Yeah, that's going to be a big topic. It's going to come up on Armed American Radio as well. Andy Hooser, the voice of reason. Thank you, brother, for being here. We love you. And
always a pleasure, brother. Love you for a Monday.
Always a fun conversation to have you on the program on a Monday. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get up and do it again tomorrow because they don't want us to. That's why we do it. And in case I haven't told you yet today, I love you, each and every one of you. There's not a damn thing you can do about it. Carry on, carry often, carry absolutely everywhere. Never leave your cave without your club. Enjoy your day. Stay safe. I'll see you on the radio mañana.